Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I've been working on the 110 scale bricks there, and to store the bricks I wanted to put them on pallets, and I spoke to my friend Gary, who's really good at wood, I must admit. He's very skilled, and between Gary and myself we've been chopping up the wood and putting them together, and I just thought I'd stop and show you the process of assembling them. And because I'm going to be using the pallet as well as a full stack of 110 scale bricks. It's about 160, 200 110 scale bricks. The forklift I've just bought for £25. I could do with modding it a bit, so I've just done this quick modification to replace the default 8 times AA batteries, 1.2 volt apiece, to get 9.2 volt array of batteries in the forklift, and I've just replaced them with 2 lithium ion cells to get roughly about 8.4 volt. And even though the voltage isn't as high, you'll find the ampage, the current being able to be pulled from the lithium ion cells compared to the nickel metal hydride cells will be higher, so there'll be a rough current, similar current going through the system. I've cut it into 2 parts. This is part 1 because in part 2 I want to add a third cell onto the array to make it roughly 11, 12 volts array, and see if the electronics in the forklift can handle it. So I'll just talk you through the pallets, and I'll just show you and talk you through the installing of the lithium ions in the forklift, and then at the end I'll show you how well the forklift lifts a couple of different weights on 8.2 volt before I step it up in the next few days when I've got a few more pieces. The reason why I'm not fully finishing it now and driving it about the place is because I want to charge this in parallel, and to do that I need several switches. So I'm just waiting for these switches, these push switches, static constant switches from eBay in the post over the next few days. So I thought the best way to create these, to manufacture these pallets, would to be break them up into some bit of a process, kind of manufacturing process. And I started out gluing the base blocks onto the baseboard at the bottom of the pallet, and then I did all of those, about 40 of those, and then I glued all the pallet slats on top of it together, and then after I'd finished, let it all set, weighed it all down, I then used these little tacks that I've put in and I've just chopped off, and they're tailor's tacks for, dresses and things like that. But if you just chop them up finely, you can, just push them down later on, and they work quite well there. On the forklift here, what I've done is I've gained access to the battery bay under the driver's seat, and I've took out all the batteries, isolated the positive and negative of the circuit, added a first battery in there, connected it up to the positive, um, run 2 more leads off that first cell so I can then charge it through USB. On the negative of the first cell, that leads into the switch, which then comes out of the switch into the second cell. Second cell has a board as well, which will be running on its own in parallel, and be charging it at the same time with the USBs. Key here was to glue as you go, get some really nice soldering, close soldering, so there's no extra space. Try to keep the cells as flat as possible in the battery bay, so it's not sticking up too much, so the chair can still sit on it. Um, Cut down the wires where you can, because you don't want extra space on the wires, because there'll be no space to tuck it in later. And the idea is if you can get it under the back rear yellow case, no one will be able to see them there. The two little USBs then you can just charge after you lift up the rear of the case. You can see here that I've hinged up the rear hood of the forklift, so when it's down you can't see the electronics, and when it's up you can just plug in USBs. And here you can see the rear plate where I'm going to put a lithium ion cell and USB charger in there, then run the wiring down to join the two array underneath, two cells underneath. Okay guys, so I've just jacked the wiring down here. You can see how I've connected negative to negative, and that's where a switch will be going between the cells, and I've just connected them over. It's all safe and fine as long as you're not charging. If you try to charge those two now, you'd create an extra circuit and it'd fry one of the cells. So while it's just running on the 8 volts here, we'll just see how well it picks up this little slab of brick. The power of 8.4 volts. It didn't do too bad, let's be fair. That's no mockery of a pallet's weight, that, you know what I mean? That's some chunky weight still. 2 or 3 of those other slabs handled it pretty darn well. Especially for plastic and non-tilty. Only issue here is they weigh an absolute ton, which means the back of the truck wants to lift up the moment you move the truck. So let's hope that a bit of extra weight in the back does the nice job for me, and also the extra cell gives that fork there a bit more power and doesn't put too much tension on these front arms to trash them, or perhaps too much tension on that very thin, very tight wire there that holds the entire weight of that thing up. So yeah, a bit more modifications to go, sure enough, but not too bad, and actually works so far. So here's the circuitry for this thing. Thank you for watching. Comments welcome, any advice and upgrades. Last thing I'm thinking of doing on this is, because of the higher voltage with the free cells, putting a little fan hidden down there, because if you just look you can see a pinion at the bottom. See that little pinion coming off a motor? It's very hard to get the angle. There's a little motor, and then a pinion is running the little gearing that's running the entire thing. So if I can get a little fan in there to keep that motor cool down there when it's running at full belts, lifting a full pallet, I think there'd be another layer or two on here, then I'd be very happy. And for the cost and the strength of the plastic and the fun I've had so far, I'm really chuffed. Keep an eye out for part 2. Should be due Wednesday, Thursday when the little push switches come. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Thanks, see yous.